Hey guys, should you summon time as usual? And this is kind of one of the weirder banner weekends I think we've had in a while because of a few things. And I'm not even going to waste any time. It's weird because we've never had these banners before, so clearly they're able to get some banners through. I do not know if these ones were already in the files. I don't think they were, but I could be wrong about that. But like, I didn't even see that a Helga banner could have come out, and this Sarak Ghan banner, which I do have the artwork for, I didn't think was able to come. Which is why I said if you were in my Discord, I was like they could run Praetus or Ingrid because I got a SmileOne deal around this time. Speaking of which, that'll be later on. Nah, it's now. If you are planning on spending in the game anytime soon, I encourage you guys to look at SmileOne. So SmileOne is the official third-party payment platform for the game. You go to the website, my links will be down below if you want to support me. You go and you can buy discounted W Gold, which is amazing. And every once in a while there will be a top-up event. This one will be between these dates on the screen, where when you spend, you will be able to get certain milestones and get extra rewards. So if you want more bang for your buck, use SmileOne. And thank you to SmileOne for sponsoring this video. But for now, I thought it would be a bit more, but they actually were able to get this through, which leads to me truly thinking that we are going to get the Beatrix Twyla banners when they're actually supposed to come out. Now, that is not 100% confirmed, of course, but that is possible, and that is what matters at the end of the day. Though, that aside, let's go over whether or not the banners are good, and yeah, straight up, they're not that great. Like I'll be real and let me kind of explain. Before we get into that, gotta say every time for these 2x events, I would say pull on them if you are early, pull on them if you have no pity, and if you really need quantity over quality. Outside of that, I would not pull on these. We know there are a lot of really good banners coming, and like I said, if we actually are able to get these banners through, then we're going to have the possibility of Kagiri. We're going to get the possibility of Beelzebub. We're going to get the possibility of, what are the other ones? Xena, we had Twyla, we had Xeris, Numera, all of this stuff. There's a lot that could be coming, which really makes these a lot worse, just straight up. Now, to start off, if you don't have Helga, I would say this is potentially worth it. Purely because, although we have a lot of banners in the future, if you don't have Helga, I'm unsure if this will ever be obtainable outside of a banner. Because if you didn't know, Helga was originally a free shard summoning fusion around the anniversary. And now that she is no longer obtainable, she's not in the pool, right? If you go through this, I don't think you can find Helga. Now, is this going to change this weekend? Will she be added to the pool tomorrow? I do not know. The other option is maybe they only add her to her own banner. And I will say there is a Crowdor banner in the files. Crowdor and Allura. Pretty garbage banner, but that still means that maybe all of these free units that only come by every once in a while, they're either going to be added to the pool like Alistair was, for example. We haven't had an Alistair banner, but, we could get a banner for him. Or they're just going to run these limited time units on specific banners that are just going to come around. Like this Helga banner, which could happen. Now, if that is the case, obviously we don't know, like I said, if this is a one-time thing. If you don't have her, it could potentially be worth it. Personally, I would say skip it anyways. But Helga is still a very good unit, and if you want to fulfill your collection, you missed out on that. Not a bad idea. But I don't think that's enough to really consider pulling on this. Now, Nyx is solid. She's the best AoE marksman in the game, but that doesn't really say much, considering Maul covers pretty much every single use case that Nyx has. Obviously, Nyx is far more useful for stuff like Pelagios Codex. She's amazing. Arena, she's really good. She is one of the only heroes I'm missing. We've had a Cetrum. We're going to get a Comet banner soon. We have this Nyx banner. I really want to pull on this, but even I think I'm skipping because Nyx just is not worth pulling for. She's so common, you're probably just going to randomly get her, unless you're like me. So that leads me to the epics, where I will say I would skip the Legos. I do not think the Legos are that important, especially, like I said, because we we know that if these things start going through, which seems likely, you are going to want to have resources for them. But if you do not have hollow, you have to go for hollow. Just straight up. Like, I know I said earlier the 2x, if you're going for quantity over quality, if you don't have hollow, you have to go for hollow. Hollow is not a common epic. She is very good. I know people who have 3,000, 4,000, even 5,000 summons without a hollow. The fact that we're getting a hollow banner is great news for people without her. Hollow is a top 3 epic in the game. The only other ones I would consider potentially higher are number 1 being Dolores, obviously. Dolores is more common than Hollow in my experience. That is not confirmed, but in my experience. And Laurel is rarer than both of them, but Laurel is still one of the better ones. And then Hollow is really important too. There's only like 4 or 5 Rage Regeners in the game right now, if you don't count Lust, I'm pretty sure, because she doesn't really count. And Hollow is one of them, and her and Elowen are the best, just straight up. Like, Laurel's good too, but Hollow just does something completely different. And she's so important. She's one of the best healers in the game. You have to go for Hollow. Okay, you have to go for Hollow. Now that does bring me to the ancient summons. And the ancient summoning is Sarak Ghan, like I mentioned earlier. Did not think this banner would be coming, thought it would be something else. Now Ghan is really good, but he's not good enough. I personally would advise you guys to skip this if I were doing a broad statement. Now let me go over quickly some things you got to ask to see if you really want Ghan. Now, for my case, of course, I'm on a different account, so I cannot show you. But on my account, I don't have Ghan, I don't have Valderon, and I don't have a Watcher Lord. But I have a Lord for every other faction, because I got very lucky, and I'm very, very blessed to have that, right? But because of my unique situation, maybe it would be worth going for Ghan. But the thing about Ghan is he is very good as a Lord, but you have to have good damage dealing units. And in the Chaotic faction, just straight up, the only Chaotic units I would say that justify you having to go for Ghan, even if you don't have Valderon, because Valderon is just better in every way, is if you have Ardea and Sargak, I would say Ghan is worth it. So you essentially have to go through a checklist of, do I have Valderon? If the answer is yes, do not pull for Ghan. If the answer is no, you go, do you have Ardea? If the answer is no, I would say do not pull. If the answer is yes, you have Ardea and no Chaotic Lord, I would say, do you have Sargak? If the answer is no, you really just got to ask yourself, do you trust that you're going to pull Sargak on this banner? Because if in that case, maybe you could. Because stuff like Valeria and Cerberus are good and all, but they work so well with the other factions, so Nightmare in Valeria's case and Chaotic in Cerberus's case, I don't really think it is that necessary to pull for them, just because you could still use them without Ghan. Outside of like maybe Conqueror Codex, where even you could use Morgan to get SSS, for example, for like Cerberus. And then for Geared Under 2, where you're going to be using Valeria and stuff, you don't need Chaotic. In that case, Chaotic's actually worse if you do not have Ardea, which, like I said, if you don't have Ardea, you shouldn't go for Ghan, right? So for this banner, if you ask those questions, I would say go from there. You know, I would say that is the only case I would pull for Ghan, is I have Sargak and Ardea and no Valderon. That is the specific requirements for me. But when it comes to Sargak, like if you're nowhere near pity, Sargak is very good. I would say it's not a bad idea to go for him. Sargak is one of my favorite heroes in the game. He's an amazing anti-air, one of the best anti-airs in the game. But then again, Sargak, you kind of need a Chaotic Lord to go for, because he's just so much better with a Chaotic Lord than a Piercer. Now, Sargak, he's great for Gear 3 if you haven't beat Gear 3 yet. Most likely, you're still not going to get Sargak because he's really hard to get. Sargak is really good in Guildy Guild, of course. And he's really good against anti-air in general. Arena, he's solid. All of that stuff, like single target and anti-air. But you gotta consider he's very rare. And another thing to take into account for these Lord banners and these just ancient banners is we have stuff like Pope. We have stuff like Ingrid. We have stuff like Cyrus, who I would consider to be better. We have Valderon. right? Yovar, these lords are better, and ancients are so precious in this game. I would say unless it's like an SSS tier banner, this is of course like an S tier banner. I would still not pull on this one because the other ones are just better. And there are rumors floating around that we may potentially be getting an Ingrid banner. I know in Asia, so not like not Asia servers exactly, but like the Asia servers, it's like 7xxx or whatever, or maybe it's 6. I don't know. It's 7xxx because if you didn't know, global is 5, and then Asia number 1 is like 6, which plays with global. No, it doesn't play with global. What am I talking about? Basically, there's like 4 different types of servers. One of the servers is getting an Ingrid banner and Demi, but it's not going to be the rest of us. So 90% of 99% of us will not be getting that. But it does mean that it is potential that we will be getting an Ingrid or a Pope banner or something. So I would keep that in mind, and I would skip this one personally. But that's kind of everything, honestly. So yeah. Personally, I think this weekend is pretty much a big skip. Not because the banners are bad, they are not, but because of what we could have in the future. Now, keep in mind one thing to take into account, which is probably why I will be pulling a little bit on these banners, not just because I really want Nyx, but because I really want the Ziona skin, because I have almost every skin in the game, and I want to keep that. So if you really want that skin, no harm in pulling, but that's only because I have like a lot of resources, and I personally wouldn't recommend unless you're like desperate for it. So that's kind of all the situations I could think of. Let me know. Are you pulling on this banner? What are you pulling for? Are you going to save? What are you saving for? And just let me know. I like reading the comments. So yeah. Thanks for all the support. I do appreciate it. Like and subscribe if you want to see more. And that's it from me, Destined, signing out.